I didn't know that Roma were slaves. I was surprised when I heard that we were for 5 centuries slaves. From 14th century to the 19th century, 500 years. I did a theater piece called Ciganiada from the author Ion Buredeliano. Through this theater production I had a new view of our history of Roma repression and why in Romania a lot of Roma still suffer from poverty. This minority has not the access to education. The racism and the exclusion from this minority is still very high in Romania and in other European countries. In the 15th century, Roma were deported from the colonial power Portugal to Africa and Brazil. In 1540, England began to expel Roma that they have used as slaves. These Roma migrated to Wales, Scotland, and Scandinavian countries like Finland and Estonia. During the 15th century, the Roma, as an abundant people, were subordinate to the imperial rules. This meant they could be expelled, raped, or hunted at will, without consequence. My grandfather fought in Serbia in the First World War and he survived. He was a veterinary doctor, but nobody knew that he was Roma. My great-grandmother was working together with him as a nurse. When the Gadje found out that he is a Rom because someone overheard him talking in Romani, they hanged him and my great-grandmother in front of their children. They were very rich at that time. All of their belongings went to the government. In Austria and Germany, there is a very famous saying.
Holt alles ins Haus. Wäsche, Hühner, Kinder. Die Zigeuner kommen.
In English it means, bring everything in the house. Laundry, chicken, children, the gypsies are coming. This sentence originated when Maria Theresia, the Austro-Hungarian empress, between 1740 and 1780 tried to force the Roma people to a permanent settlement. She also wanted to assimilate the Roma, and she took the young Roma boys and gave them to the Gadje. This Gadje used these young boys for hard work and to send them in the war. So their own biological son could stay at home and survive the war. Some Roma families tried to take their children back. They wanted to rescue them from the Gadje. And at that time, this urban legend comes from that the gypsies will steal your children. Nobody mentions that these were their own child. The Roma families were even punished with hanging for the stealing of their own children. Maria Theresia, the empress, did the preparatory work for Hitler with the forced settlement and the forced registration of the Roma here in Austria. My grandfather graduated from high school, and this was very unusual for Roma. He hated Roma, even he was also a Rom and very dark-skinned. When I was a little child, he forbade me to play with the Roma children. He always said harsh things about the Roma. He forbade my mother to talk in Romani in the house. But just when he left the house, my mother and my grandmother talked secretly the language. My father learned Romani from my mother. I think my grandfather was like that because he saw his own mother and his own father hanged for being Roma. He was just 12 years old. And we're not talking about ancient history. This happened just 70 years ago.